My name's Hayden Fowler. This project that we're sitting in is Dark Ecology. It's just opened as part of the New Romance exhibition at the MCA in Sydney. This is one of the largest projects I've worked on. I was really thinking about creating immersive space for the audience, which is something I've been thinking about for a long time and sort of working towards, but this is the first time that I've really been able to create a work on a scale that really achieves that kind of immersion for the audience. The work has a couple of different components. The first is the large kind of geodesic structure with entrance tunnel, which basically creates an immersive environment within the work that the audience enters into. Then within the work is housed this dead oasis of this kind of apocalyptic, depleted, destroyed, ashen environment that's existing within the dome. The environment itself is changing subtly over the course of the exhibition. In some ways the work or the structure creates this sort of experimental environment that I'm working within, where I have created this whole sort of atmosphere and environment, and then in some ways working with it to see how it develops over the course of the exhibition. The basic ideas I was really wanting to work with in this project was sort of creating a space to think about our perceptions and our emotional experiences of the environment in the contemporary age or in the Anthropocene, where we're kind of bombarded with imagery and knowledge of the amount of destruction that's going on in our environment and in the climate. These are ideas that are, although we've spoken about, they're still sort of spoken about and understood really tentatively. In a lot of ways we don't really have language to think about or speak about these ideas, particularly on an emotional level. So the work for me has been really about creating a space where the audience can be immersed in these ideas and think about or react to these ideas or this kind of imagery of destroyed, sort of depleted landscape and the aesthetics, sort of emerging aesthetics of death in the landscape, I guess. The whole inside of the work is monitored with CCTV cameras, and they're playing on a live feed inside the gallery. So sort of in another location, you can kind of observe the inside of the work. So it has this kind of sense, I guess, of kind of scientific observation or surveillance, or the way that we experience other planets or other environments through these kind of mediated images. The exhibition itself is titled New Romance, and I have been working in my practice quite a lot with ideas of romanticism, which I really see as obviously as a continuum. It started in response to the Industrial Revolution, and in some ways romanticism is now kind of playing out. Like most of the predictions of the early romantics or ideas of the early romantics have kind of come to fruition. And in the same way they were working with landscape in terms of looking at landscape in a more kind of animist way or spiritualist way, or the kind of, I guess, non-logical ways that landscape or environment affect us and influence us are all ideas that I'm sort of working with in this work, and how we think about and how we represent the landscape or feel about it in the contemporary moment, which is generally associated with some kind of destruction or loss or depletion. So I've been really interested in working with ideas around new aesthetics of representing landscape in the contemporary moment, I guess. Early on in the exhibition, the space was inhabited on a daily basis, so there was actually a human body in the work. So I've been really interested in the way that the human body itself kind of aesthetically contrasts against the technological or geometric elements in the work, as well as against the natural shapes or the natural aesthetics of the trees, the stream, the earth, etc. The human dimension of the work was has been an interesting element in the way that the difference in the way the audience kind of responds to the work between when there's a body in the work and when there's not. One of the important parts of the project is that the landscape is kind of ongoing and evolving. There's still some kind of sense of life or change in the landscape. So during the exhibition, I'm sort of quietly working away week by week, just sort of maintaining the landscape, but also kind of just working with the changing aesthetic of it as it changes and develops. So it's not really a stagnant thing. It still has some kind of sense of life. There's still some kind of change. And that I sort of continue working with the aesthetics that I've got sort of going on and sort of developing them further during the exhibition.